I'm Paul Cicala. We here at ABC7 have extensively covered the potential impacts of the tariffs proposed by President Donald Trump and how it would impact the borderland. But it goes beyond our own backyard. I recently traveled to the southeast coast of Mexico, where thousands of Americans live and have allegiances to both countries. I was able to get extra perspective on expats who are permanent residents of Mexico and how tariffs could affect them. It's a story you'll only see on ABC7. Traditional Mexican music being played in one of the most colonial parts of Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. As Jason Opp takes an evening stroll along a street popular with fellow Americans, where he says he's also looking to buy a home so he can permanently relocate to the country. Opp says he appreciates Mexico, but also agrees with the idea of tariffs.
Actually a short-term loss for long-term gains.
Opp is a native of California and has seen firsthand the negative effects associated with drugs coming into the U.S.
We need to stop fentanyl and other drugs coming into our country in the United States, and I think that's why President Trump did these tariffs.
There are a lot of people who think this is a good idea, and it's just so not.
Nicole Huff and her husband Walter are Americans who've been living in Mexico for 3 years. They're concerned about tariffs and the instability that it could bring to Mexico.
Honestly, I'm scared. I'm scared of someone who is a legal resident in Mexico but a citizen of the U.S., who intends to live here permanently and not return to the U.S., but I have financial and personal ties to the U.S.
I'm in the Zona Histórica of Merida, Mexico, or the historic zone in the downtown region. And it's this area here where many Americans and Canadians actually call home. And many that I talk to are going round and round and round with this topic. Why is that? Well, many say that they can agree about tariffs and the positions on both sides of the coin.
I truly hope it brings jobs to America.
Tim Pridemore is originally from West Virginia, but has grown to have a true appreciation for Mexico.
I understand why they're doing it, that, trying to basically force the company that are importing the goods from there to either pay the tariff or bring their product production back to America.
Miguel and Sandra Perez are from Texas, but have been living in Mexico for 5 years.
We do have a lot of pride as Americans and Americans in Mexico.
The couple feels that even just the talk of tariffs goes contrary to longstanding international agreements.
So there was a NAFTA, there was North American Free Trade Agreement. That seemed to work well. It's going to hurt U.S. citizens, it's going to hurt Mexican citizens.
I'm here at one of the hundreds of cenotes or water holes in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. And the Yucatan Peninsula also includes Cancun, which is a popular tourist destination. And people in this region, which is about an hour-and-a-half bus ride outside of Merida, tell me that tourism is already down, at least among Americans. And a lot of that has to do with the travel warnings. And they fear some of the friction caused by the tariffs could affect tourism that much more.
Diría que más del 70%.
Eli Park says about 70% of the visitors that tip him as he plays his violin are from the USA.
Deja de venir la gente que deja más dinero.
Eli tells me if people with the most money stop coming to Mexico because of friction that could be created by tariffs, he and others that cater to tourists will truly suffer.
We're going to be packing.
Meanwhile, Dean Shuden says he feels offended by tariff talks, not only for Mexicans, but also as a Canadian citizen.
I really like the Mexican people. They're so friendly, but I got a feeling it might affect them more than Canadians even because, we're a little more well off than most Mexicans are, so.
Nevertheless, the controversy continues.
I can see what Trump's doing, charging more tariffs.
And help protecting us instead of the United States doing it all.
I love the U.S., but what's going on right now scares the heck out of me.
So for now, Americans living in Mexico, just like those who reside in the U.S., have to wait it out for President Trump and President Sheinbaum's next play as the play of the guitar continues on, while USA citizens still try to enjoy their newfound homes in Mexico. According to data from the Population and Housing Census of 2020, at least 16,000 Americans now live in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, and many are from right here in Texas. Most of the Americans in the Yucatan Peninsula live in the Merida, Tulum, and Cancun area of Mexico. Forbes.com says that about 1.6 million U.S. citizens as a whole now reside in Mexico.